Hi everyone, Roseanne here with the Intuitive Couple, and it is time for today's card of the day. Today's card of the day is actually one of my favorites. Now, if you watch this, if you watched my videos before on the card of the day, the reason why I am talking about the cards of the day is to kind of give you a little bit more of an insight to how we work and what the cards mean to me. Now, again, I'm going to give you my version of like my favorite moments of what the card means. Not every time a particular card comes out, it doesn't mean the same thing for everybody. Okay, let me make that very clear. Because a lot of card readers, and I've seen this before, but they'll do one card pull and then they go to the little book and they start reading it to see what the definition of the card is. Remember, if you are, a card reader, if you're a psychic, if you're an intuitive, okay, if you're just kind of like, on your new journey of finding out and trying to hone your abilities as an intuitive and psychic, most people start with cards. And I always believe that you have to find a set of cards that speaks to your soul. Okay, and there's people who have lots of different decks, okay, but we only have one deck. Justin and I work from one deck, and it's an angel card deck, and it's only light cards, meaning they are all uplifting cards. There's nothing dark in them. Okay, so this card, no matter I have to say, no matter how many times it comes out, I have like certain cards that are my favorite, absolutely my favorite cards whatsoever. Because for me, and let me preface this, I read a lot of women, okay? That is what I do. So the women that I read are kind of like myself. We're misunderstood, okay? There's a collective group of women out there that seem to gravitate towards me and towards our group of that are just misunderstood. Now, this card is so important in this field because it is the practice makes perfect card. Now, the only flaw I have with this card is that practice makes perfect. I literally hate that word. Practice makes perfect. And this is what I always say. And it's funny because I used to say this all the time, like when my kids were little. Practice doesn't make anything perfect. It makes it easier. So when somebody gets this card, no matter what they are doing, it doesn't matter if it comes out upright or if it comes out upside down, okay, which would be the opposite. Okay, the message is still the same. Practice doesn't make life perfect. If they're seeking perfection in their life, which a lot of us do, okay, especially as women, we're always seeking perfection. I want to look better. We're always comparing ourselves to other people and to, what other people look like and what they have, and, we're constantly judging ourselves. So we're always wanting that perfection. And we live in a world where perfection is constantly being flaunted in front of our faces. So practice makes perfect is completely wrong. So it's practice makes things easier because nothing in life is perfect. That's a fact. If that was the truth, then why are we in so much turmoil? See, God made us have free will, so we're able to make choices and decisions. If he made us all perfect, then what kind of life? We would live in a utopian society. But that's not the case. So this is what I say. Remember, when you are feeling like your life is not going in the direction that you want it to go in because you're trying really, really hard to make things perfect. And trust me, you use that word a lot. You think you don't, but think about how many times you've used that word. And remember, life is not perfect. We will never be perfect. Those people we see who we think are perfect, they're not perfect, okay? It just, practice in life makes life easier. And it goes back to a lot of instances, okay? So, for instance, I talk about that about self-image, but how this card would actually play in a scenario if I was reading somebody. It would be more like, so there's an instance where I have women who deal with mommy guilt, or, they have relationships that, aren't going so right, or their children are, they're just dealing with things with their children. The whole thing, and maybe their careers, it can be all different kinds of life situations. The point is that all our lives, we've been told since a young age, and it's an old saying, an adage, practice makes perfect. When you're told to go practice piano or go practice, basketball or baseball or soccer or whatever, you're never going to be perfect. Okay? So when we are dealing with situations like with relationships and families and, communication issues, or, any type of thing, we are so hard on ourselves because we've heard that adage, that saying over and over and over. It's been drilled into our heads so much that they decided to print it on this card. So I want to scribble it out every time I see it because it's not true. There's no such thing as perfection. So what I tell people is, look, you have to try harder, but you have to release yourself from knowing that it's not going to be perfect. Yes, your kids are going to have bad days. You're going to have a bad day as a mother, and you're going to have guilt, and you're going to feel bad about things. And yeah, there'll be days where you don't have everything together. You don't have the house perfectly cleaned, or your career isn't going the way you wanted it to go, or you're in a relationship that is garbage and the man is not treating you right. Whatever the situation may be, okay, we always tend to throw it back on ourselves and say, well, I need to do better. I'm not perfect enough. I've got to be, because we're always looking at everybody else and comparing ourselves to that situation. So I really believe that when I tell people, look, that's when you have to start digging deep inside yourself and changing the language in your head. It's okay not to be perfect. It's okay that the house is just a little bit messy. Okay, I didn't get all the laundry folded. It's okay that, I didn't get that promotion. Maybe it wasn't meant to be. Or I didn't make the team this year, or whatever the case may be. Just remember, we've got to change the language. So practice doesn't make things perfect. It just makes it easier. And I want people to remember that and tell their kids that too, because I don't want people to grow up. And I do this with my own children. I don't want them growing up thinking that, hey, you got to practice to make perfect, because it just doesn't. Practice in life, and the practice of life, this practice that we do makes it easier. it makes it easier for us to get over the different little bumps in the road that we encounter. So I hope that kind of gives you some insight. It's a little bit vague to a degree, but I have to tell you that all the cards, there's always another card that goes with this that gives a little bit more information. And that's why when you get a card reading from Justin and Roseanne Cardoza, psychic mediums, you don't get just one card. You get either 3 cards or a full card pull, because all the cards tell a story. One card just doesn't say it all. So remember that next time when you're seeking out guidance and you say, can you pull a card for me? Okay. Nice seeing you. Have a great day. Tune in next time. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell.